another parallel Earth reality that destroyed their world, and that the humans on that world became mutated into the form you call the Greys. And because they had mutated in such a way, hybridized themselves in such a way to be able to survive on their destroyed version of Earth, they were no longer able to reproduce. And they knew that they would die out if they did not seek out somehow, somewhere, a viable source of still existing human DNA. They use their advanced technology, as we have told you before, to tunnel into various parallel reality versions of Earth, including yours, to find viable human DNA, to infuse with themselves to create hybrid civilizations that would allow their culture to continue and not die out. But the idea of the early Grey, in a sense, because it was something that was created that changed them into a form that could adapt to their dying world, in a sense, is the first hybrid race. The Greys, in the ancient tongue, are the Maz'eh. The Maz'eh are what came into your parallel reality and began the hybridization agenda. So the Maz'eh, the Greys, formed the first hybrid race. The first hybridization level or phase that followed the Maz'eh, or Grey beings, is what we call the Maz'ani. These are what many people in these encounters have recognized as the tall Greys. So they are the next stage of hybridization from the Greys that began to incorporate human DNA and allowed them to begin to change to something a little bit closer to resembling the idea of a hybrid that could continue their species. But it still was not sufficient for a number of reasons. But they were the second hybrid race, and in a sense, phase one of the hybridization agenda. After that came our civilization, the Sassani. So we are the third hybrid race. We are representative of a 50-50 balance between the Greys, the Maz'eh, and the humans on your world and other worlds like yours. We are physically and representationally halfway between the Greys and what you consider yourselves to be as Homo sapien. We are here, as you can see, to share information with you because we are family, we are genetically connected. You are in many ways our ancestors, and we are your descendants, and we will get to that point a little bit more deeply in a moment. The next phase is what was called the Sha-yahyel. This is something that is a little bit more human in appearance, but still containing various aspects of what you consider to be hybrid beings. They still have much larger eyes than you. They are relatively slender like us, but a little bit more toward the human form that you are familiar with. Now, the Sha-yahyel, the fourth hybrid race, act in many ways as guides for the fifth hybrid race, the Ya-yahyel, who are much more human-like, and that's why they are going to be the first hybrid species of the 5 hybrid races that would have open contact with your civilization. They look more or less human. They may still exhibit a few of the ideas of hybrid traits that would make them a little bit different than what you consider a normal or natural human to look like. But nevertheless, the fourth hybrid race, the Sha-yahyel, will act in a sense as guides and organizers to help with the agenda of acclimatization for the Ya-yahyel to be able to interact with your world when open contact begins. So they are working very closely together that way. What follows the Ya-yahyel is what has been termed the Sha-l'naya, which in the ancient tongue is the first ones. The first ones being what you typically refer to as the hybrid children that live on the ships that will ultimately be returned to Earth to live among you and begin the process of allowing Earth to blend into and evolve into the sixth hybrid race eventually. This is what we refer to as the next word in the list, the Enani-Ka. Now, we have initially told you that our ancient word for Earth is Enani, which basically means the ancestors, but more specifically, it was in its ancient form Maz'eh, Nadea, Enani-Ka, which means the place of the ancient mothers. Again, that's a more literal translation, which has now been condensed over time simply into Enani-Ka, which is the ancestor spirits. But in this case, spirit, not only representing the idea by the word Ka of what you consider normal spirit to be, but also the idea of essence. And in this case, a literal reference to DNA. So it is the idea of the ancestor DNA and that which will allow there to be a blending, a harmonization, and a continuing of evolution for Earth to become the sixth hybrid race. Now, we have previously also told you that there would be ultimately a seventh hybrid race that would be a blending of all the other six. This will be a new type of being that will represent a very different way of existing in physical reality, that will exhibit many traits of spirits and other dimensions, will have an interesting expression of power and passion and peace, that will explore and unify many different star systems, many different galaxies in time. So Earth is forming the last foundational component for the seventh hybrid race, which on the list is referred to as Het, or Anu-Het, which means they are the conclusion of the cycle, the grand cycle that was begun by the Anunnaki and ends with the Anu-Het, and brings forth a new species, as we said, of power, passion, and peace. Now, this all goes toward the understanding of the real transformation that's taking place on your planet. This entire cycle is really what the transformation is all about. This upgrade, this uplift, this ascension into new forms, new expressions of great power and passion and peace and benefit and creativity and unconditional love that can ignite a new wave of experience and a new series of civilizations within your star system, other star systems, and the galaxy and other galaxies. This is the beginning of a new cycle with the Anu-Het, a new form of the Anunnaki for a different purpose of expanding creation in a new and unique way, in a much broader way, in a much more expanded way. The real gift is that because we noticed that your planet was heading down the same path as the alternate Earth that destroyed themselves and turned into the Greys, the Maz'eh, the real gift is that in giving you this information, which the other world did not have, the other Earth did not have, with this information, you get to skip all the intervening phases, the Maz'eh, the Maz'ani, the Sassani version of yourselves, the Sha-yahyel, the Ya-yahyel, the Sha-l'naya. You get to go straight from the idea of being human into being Enani-Ka, the uplifted version of yourselves, skipping over literally thousands of years of necessary evolution. That's the gift that we're actually giving to you by sharing this information with you, to highly accelerate your ability to become the sixth hybrid race without going through what that alternate version of Earth went through in creating or needing to create all those different phases to bring themselves back into balance, back into center. You can skip all of that by applying the information we share with you. That is our gift to you.
So can you tell us more about the Mantis beings?
They are the overseers of the hybridization program. Because the Greys, at one point,
decided that they had to give up their emotionality and become a hive mentality in order to accomplish the task, because it was so large. They knew they needed someone to guide them. And so, in a sense, the Mantis beings were, well, I'll use your word, hired to guide them. So the Mantis beings are the overseers of the hybridization program.
I see. So,
They had to give up their emotionality to reclaim their emotionality in the hybrids.
and how are they assisting humanity with that project?
Am I assisting you?
Yes.
Then you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Because my civilization is one of the hybrid civilizations that resulted from the hybridization agenda.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
We are helping to make sure, of course it's your choice, you do not go down the same path that the Greys went down when they were humans on a parallel Earth where they destroyed their reality.
Got it.
Remember that the Greys are mutated humans, they're not aliens.